whatever.
Or is it going to give me, we are live?
Well, let's see. Which command?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
All right. Oh, okay. I see it.
Hmm.
Hi, everybody. We are just getting going. I'm just going to send out a tweet. With, gotta do my hashtags and all that.
One.
Well, while Jason's getting ready, let me read our first comment from Madiac 1980. All he says is, William Sadler, thank you for being amazing in my favorite TV show, Roswell. All the best from a Swedish dude.
Dude. Swedish dude, thank you. Roswell was a fun show to do for me. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
All right. Cool.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Yeah, we're live.
Let's put my phone in.
Oh my God. Hey folks, how are you? So
we got
it's
a
great
couple
to be
people
here.
saying hello.
Feel free to ask about anything you want. I will answer if I can, and and change the subject if I have to, and but help yourself. We can talk about movies or TV shows or careers or acting or music or whatever. I have a cup of cold coffee and I'm ready to go.
All right, Mondo, we got some questions rolling in. Do you want to read some off?
Yeah.
Well, first, let me just do our usual intro. Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to our very first live Q&A of Dads in the Crypt. My name is Jason. And I'm here with my co-host Mondo, and we have the amazing William Sadler. And the crowd goes wild. Again, this is our first live Q&A, so it's all a little bit experimental on our side, but we have our chat open. Please go ahead and put in questions about any topics you want to talk about. We've got some topics we're going to hit on. We even have some music that William has prepared that we're going to be playing in a little bit. And we might even have a surprise dropping guest or two later on in the show. Unfortunately, Jody's got a sick kid at home, so he may or may not be able to make it. But until then, let's do a get well to Taylor. Hope you feel better and lay off all those hot dogs. All right, so let's start off with some questions. We got them rolling in. So Mondo, hit us.
All righty. Our Swedish friend here has a laundry list of questions, which is totally cool. He asks, do you own a copy of the Crash Down menu from Roswell?
I don't. I don't. I think I have the little bell that you press and it rings like when the short order cook would say your lunch is ready, it go ding. But no, I don't have a menu.
I'm not familiar with Roswell, so what was your character?
I played Sheriff Valenti. Jim Valenti for 3 years on a show called Roswell on the WB. And it was great fun. It was teenagers in love, Max and Liz. And I was sort of the biggest problem. That they're aliens. I should point out. They're aliens in Roswell, New Mexico that were somehow connected to that crash. And they're growing up and going to high school and falling in love and trying to dodge the police and the FBI and everybody else. And And it's also this sort of great Romeo and Juliet story, because he's an alien and he falls in love with an Earthling, and there's no way on any planet that that's gonna work. But they're star-crossed lovers, and it was a great show. It was really fun to do for 3 years.
Great. Mondo, are we recording? Should I record this? Should I click record on the Zoom too?
Yeah. Yeah. You should.
Okay.
You should definitely do that, because I definitely
Recording
didn't hit record.
in progress.
So anybody's gonna hear this on the podcast later, you're gonna miss the first question, and it was a doozy. But
that's all right. I think we can probably pull it from YouTube as well.
Yeah. It's totally
fine.
It's totally fine. Madiak also asks, have you heard of Brendan and I'm gonna butcher this name. I think it's Mahandra. Yeah, their new TV show called Baron and Toluca. It's considered a spiritual successor to Roswell.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen any of it. I don't know that it's even out yet. But I heard that they were going ahead with it. That was one of the romantic pairings in the series Roswell, was Baron and Toluca. That was so yeah, I'm glad. And it's funny too, because the show was canceled and people went crazy. People have been saying, when, can they please bring it back? Can they please bring it back? Is there any way to bring it back? And in fact they started another series about Roswell, like the new Roswell, which I don't know whether it's still on or not. I watched 1 or 2 episodes of it. But it's funny. People fell in love with those people, and they wouldn't let go. They really wouldn't let go. It became this thing, this search for the rest of their lives. They wrote fan fictions. They wrote, and so it doesn't surprise me that Brendan and Mahandra have have gotten back together to make a new show about their relationship, because there was this built-in audience for the last 25 years or something, whatever it's been.
Nice.
And then he follows it up with another question saying, do you believe that there are aliens out there?
Yeah. I do.
Me too.
I do. There are way too many planets, too many stars, billions and billions and billions of stars, and some of them have livable planets around them with water or whatever it requires. And so there's more than likely the chances that we're the only place in the universe that this happened seems truly ridiculous. That seems such a remote possibility. It's much more likely that the same chemistry occurred, the same, however many light years away.
Yeah, I mean, if
it happened here, it can happen. There's no reason it couldn't happen on other planets.
Right. Yeah. If the universe is infinite and time is infinite, then it'd be stupid to think that there's
also
nothing else.
I don't think. And have you watched any of the pictures coming back from the James Webb Telescope?
Yeah, that's the new one.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. They're like, I'm a nerd. I'm a space nerd.
Nice.
And but anyway, that's an extraordinary thing, and you should follow it. You can go on YouTube, and after you're done watching this, you can go and check out the new James Webb Telescope. Photographs are just stunning. They're stunning. They're pictures of galaxies that are, 250 million light years away, just, close to the beginning of the universe, close to the Big Bang. Do I believe that aliens have visited us? No. There. Because that was probably
that's
the other
follow-up, yeah.
I'm sure that was the other half of his question. I'm sure there are aliens out there, and why they would come here and visit this planet, I don't think so.
Yeah, because that's the other flip side. Again, if the universe is infinite, then everything's gonna be so spaced out. Why come here?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe for the music. Or
Yeah, there you
maybe,
go. Great movies.
Great movies.
We fight a lot though, and maybe they don't want conflict.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, and apparently we're going to screw things up and burn out anyway, like a fungus on an orange. Well, on that,
Yeah, that note. Mondo,
what's the next question?
what's the next question, Mondo?
Alrighty.
This is a Steven Seagal one. That looks good.
Yeah, he just our friend from Sweden also says, have you heard any music from Sweden?
No. I don't think. Was ABBA from Sweden?
I think so. Yes.
I think that's. That may be the only Swedish music I've heard. If they came from Sweden, and they were great too, by the way. I loved the video, the one where they're puppets at the.
Oh, I don't even remember. I like Sweden makes some good metal. I'll give you guys that. You guys make some great metal out there.
Who else has got questions?
We have a TM McWalto asks, having had the privilege of acting opposite master thespian Steven Seagal, could you grace us? Could you grace us with some stories of your time with him?
Steven, you big galoot. He was a. I guess I caught Steven. I did. I think the second movie that he did. The first one was Above the Law or something. His movies always had 3 words in them. It was like Above the Law, Hard to Kill.
Yeah, Hard to Kill. Yeah.
It was actually the movie I did was called 7 Years Storm, which I thought was a cooler name myself because he plays a man named Storm who is in a coma for 7 years and then comes back to revenge his. I killed his family. I'm sorry.
As you do.
As one does. Let's see. Steven Seagal story. My audition for it was fun. At Warner Brothers, I went on the lot and I'm up in this office with Steven, and it's just the two of us sitting opposite one another over a coffee table. And reading a scene where he gets the drop on. I play the Senator Vernon Trent, and he gets the drop on me and says something like, the human reaction time is 0.0 seconds, and that's long enough for me to rip out your heart and throw it across the room. Because I tell him there's like guns aimed at him, and that's why he does it. We get to that point in the audition, and he came across the coffee table, grabbed my neck, and pushed me against the wall. And I stayed in character for some reason. I was startled and I was, alarmed, but I stayed in character and I kept the scene going. And then the scene was, of course, full of all of that stuff. And then I'm sure it's why I got the job. Because if you did that to most actors, they would, what are you doing? Get the fuck off of me, you jackass. But he did. He grabbed me by the neck and to see what my reaction was, or if I was, such a wimp, I couldn't do it. One other, I have so many Steven Seagal stories. That one movie, we were shooting a scene at the LA Zoo, and we're up along this moat, and there are chimps, like the camera's here, we're here up against a fence, and there's a moat, and then the chimps over here, so you can see them between us. We're in a kind of a 50-50, and we're doing the scene. Oh, and he's about 6'9" or whatever he was, and we're on a hill, and he always took the uphill position so that he was way taller. But anyway, we got halfway through the scene and the cameraman yelled, "Incoming!" And we turned just in time to see the chimps had all crapped in their hands and threw it. And it was raining chimp shit. And it was just raining it. It's like, and we're cleaning off lenses and we're cleaning off costumes. And I just thought, man, everybody's a critic. You know? But that's a true story. That's an absolutely true story. I may have exaggerated how much poop flew, but poop flew.
Any poop flying is too much poop flying.
Yeah, any amount.
And you never want to hear the cameraman say, incoming! And then they duck. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is it, birds? Was it? Anyway. There you go. What's the next question?
Next question is just an easy question to answer. Ansi, I'm gonna butcher his last name. Rauhala. He says, "Happy to see you. Greetings intercontinentally. Shall we hear some music today?" And the answer is going to be yes.
Yes.
We'll definitely.
Yes, we will. I've been writing songs for a long time, and these gentlemen were kind enough to offer to play a couple of them.
Yeah, let's talk.
Or one of them anyway.
Let's dive into that. So, what's your inspiration to become a music creator? So, obviously, you played for a long time.
I've been playing since I was a little kid. My dad taught me the ukulele. I had a tenor ukulele, and I had a soprano ukulele. He had a baritone ukulele, and we would do duets when I was really little, like 7, 8. And then he got a guitar, and I got a banjo. And we kept playing, and then the folk music thing happened, and Hootenannies and the Smothers Brothers, and then rock and roll. So I was in a garage band back in Buffalo called the Night Riders, KNIGHTRYDERS. And cool as hell. We used to win the battle of the bands. We just did covers. We did, we did all Stone songs and early Stone songs and things like that. Anything with 3 chords in it, we clobbered really loud. Just crank it up to 11 and do Louie Louie, 3 chords. But it was great, and literally practiced in garages, and then went and did sock hops in gymnasiums and teen centers. But I started writing songs back in the 80s and 90s, and I would do coffee houses, and it's always been I've always had an instinct for it. I think I've always had it makes me happy, and I guess I was inspired by the Roger Millers and the people that lean sort of the funnier, John Prines. So a lot of my songs are humorous, or they have a humorous bent to them. Some of them are romantic, some of them are sweet and romantic, but a lot of them are kind of tongue-in-cheek. Look at how silly we humans are. So I started just recently, when the pandemic hit, I thought I need to record these things. Lots of people have heard them. I started doing these kitchen tapes on YouTube, William Sadler, the kitchen tapes, and they were just really funky versions of some of these songs. And I decided to see if I could make decent ones with people who could really play and good recordings, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we'll play some a little bit, but they sound really, really good. So on them, you got like a session band, or did you get some friends together?
I have friends. There's a friend of mine named Steve Kirkman who plays guitar and bass, and he's been helping me put it together. Matt Kulowitz was the sound guy for a show I did called Our Cartoon President, Stephen Colbert's show. And I did, which by the way, we won an Emmy for. And but he's been helping me with microphones and setups, and trying to get these things to sound as good as they can sound. And so anyway, it's really been a pet project of mine. And I didn't want it to be cheesy. You know, I was joking earlier about William Shatner's version of Rocket Man, you know, when there are lots of actors who think they can sing, and I think Leonard Nimoy did it. I mean, there are lots of them out there, but I don't want them to come out sounding as cheesy as all that.
No, what I noticed is a lot of them.
It's my own cheese. If it's going to be anybody's cheese, it's my cheese.
Well, a lot of them do it. Like when Sharon does his, it sounds like Captain Kirk singing his version of the Rocket Man. But when we listen to yours, it sounds like you, William Sadler, the person, not as a character.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we play one of them?
You know, I have no designs to become a rock star, or, you know, but I've always like people like Randy Newman, you know, political science, and You Can Leave Your Hat On. And I mean, the genius of those simple songs that are funny and fantastic, and the people that can write, who can slide back and forth between, you know, they can make you laugh at something by telling you the truth about it. I've just always admired that. So that's what I took a shot at it.
All right. Should we play one of them, Mondo?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got that teed up? All right. So, Mondo, which one are we going to do?
Sorry, we'll do the first one I have queued up is called, actually, I'll give you the choice. We have two different ones. We have Talking to My Baby, and we have Cups of Coffee.
29 cups of coffee.
29 cups of coffee.
Okay, so this will be the world galactic premiere of 29 Cups of Coffee.
Sure, that's a great one to start with. That's sort of a retro 1950s. Elvis Presley had 29 cups of coffee. Hit it, boys. It's really good. I've had 29 cups of coffee at the Parkview Diner. I've been waiting all day, waiting all night, and the girl ain't got here yet. She ain't got here yet. She ain't got here yet. I wish she'd heard. I'm starting to worry. The girl ain't got here yet. She told me that she'd meet me tomorrow at the party last night where we met. And she was looking so good, I thought maybe we could, but the girl ain't got here yet. She ain't got here yet. Ooh, she ain't got here yet. Something is wrong, this is taking too long, and the girl ain't got here yet. She told me when she gave me her number that she was looking for a cat like me. Well, now I'm beginning to wonder, well, just where in the world could she be? Called her at 7:15. I called her at 10:15. I called her once more at 4:45. I keep calling her again and again and again. Not yet. She ain't got here yet. I keep calling her phone, ain't nobody home, and the girl ain't got here yet. I wanna know. Yeah. That's what I say. Waitress is making me nervous. I think she wants me to leave. She keeps filling my cup, I keep drinking it up, and I'm shaking like you wouldn't believe. Maybe my baby got grounded. Maybe she got caught out of town. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter, because I'm gonna keep it hanging around, round. Oh yeah. She ain't got here yet. I'm gonna stay right here if it takes all year, 'cause the girl ain't got here yet. No, she ain't got here yet. Switch to decaf, baby. Ooh.
Love it. Well, we hope everyone enjoyed that. We definitely got some comments in the chat that they were enjoying it as well. So what was the inspiration behind this song?
um, I'm a well, I'm a coffee addict. I love coffee, as you could probably tell. But but there comes a point. You have to know how to control it. And I just thought it would be funny. Somebody who's sitting in it, he's been stood up. I know he's by this girl that he met the night before, and he's waiting in the diner, and they keep filling his cup, and he's just going crazy, waiting for this girl. And it just seemed like a funny notion. And I also like that sort of retro, you know, the Scotty Moore guitar, you know, the Elvis. I love the guys that stand behind Elvis and sing, you know, don't be cruel to a heart that's true. And so we got some of that going as well. It was just a fun rockin', you know, kind of a rockin' thing. I don't do a lot of rock and roll. I'm fairly acoustic in my music, but I thought that was a good one to start with. So people liked it? I can't tell.
Yeah, so we got some good comments.
Record deals?
Not yet, but we'll try.
Totally want someone from Oh Boy Records to call me.
Yeah, we had Catherine said, literally dancing around my kitchen to 29 cups of coffee. It's great.
No way!
I love your music, Bill.
Sweet.
And
Sweet.
Then our Swedish friend says, Bill and Ted would be so proud.
I know. It's not the song that would save the universe, but it's close.
All right. I'm gonna interrupt us for a minute because we have a special guest popping in. Let me admit him.
What? Who is it? Hello?
He's coming on. You need to get a drum roll sound effect. We need a soundboard. Hello, special guest. Can you hear us?
I can, but I can't see you for some reason.
Oh, you have to turn your camera on.
It's on. I can't. Oh, there we go. Let's get rid of that.
You say this was live? We should remind people this is live.
This is live.
It's live. Anything could happen. Dude. Dude, are you serious? I'm blown away. I'm good, Don. Holy cow.
It's been a while.
You think?
Just a little bit.
Just a little while. You look exactly the same.
Except with some gray hair, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Look at this. It's
I look
wow.
I am beat up. I was supposed to be in Seattle this weekend for the Crypticon, and
right,
and had to cancel because of salmonella poisoning. I was just like,
dude,
it was a bad week, but I'm now above water, so I feel better. You look great, man. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
you as well.
I just got to say to you guys, not only is Bill one of the nicest people I've ever met in the business, because he's such a cool guy as an actor and plays such cool characters and stuff. But anybody who's ever met him or worked with him, and including the fans, will all tell you that he's also just one of the nicest people ever in the business. And
thank you.
We had, met once or twice. First of all, the Man Who Was Death is still maybe my favorite episode of.
I was gonna say that was, I believe that was you and I were largely responsible for that. I mean, you had just created that, Crypt Keeper, had you not?
Totally. It was just, I had gone down to Kevin Yeager's studio to audition for him, and he was working on the puppet, and
right.
So they gave him the job to also see if he could find an actor to do the voice, and there were all kinds of crazy actors down there trying to audition for it, looking at the stupid puns and going, "Oh my God, this is terrible," but they didn't get it,
Right.
I started doing that voice for Kevin, and Kevin was like,
That's it. That's it.
That's it. And we were cracking up, and he had me doing it for Joel Silver and Dick Donner, and in that, I don't know if you remember, they had that little trailer.
And Walter Hill, I bet.
Walter Hill. That episode's just so cool with Ry Cooder doing the music to it and the way you talk to the camera. Just so felt right for that show. You know, three of those original episodes were great. That one.
I've told this story before, but Karen Ray did the casting for that. And they had me in to read for the cop at the end, who comes in and says, "Mr. Talbot, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can," and then they fade out, right? And I read for it. I did that. And then she said, "Thank you." And I said, "What's up with the role of Talbot, right? The executioner?" And she said, "Oh, they want a name. They're looking for a name. There's like John Malkovich or, you know, someone like that." And I thought, okay, well, thanks. And I left. I left the office, and I'm walking across the parking lot outside of Joel Silver's office. She stuck her head out the window of the office and said, "Bill, come back here." She handed me the sides for one of the speeches that he does into the camera. She said, "Come back on Monday. I'll put you on tape. But you should slick your hair back and, you know, black out your teeth or something, because you're too cute for this." So I was like dumb and cute. But I had done monologues. In New York on stage, I did a 45-minute monologue and won an Obie for it. So doing monologues was like in my wheelhouse. So I came back in, and with my hair slicked back, and I lit a cigarette, and I started talking to the lens about, you know, killed her big as hell. I like electricity. It's clean, you know, that whole thing. And I guess they showed it to Walter, and they showed it to, you know, Joel Silver, and it happened, you know, and we shot that thing. One of the writers on the show was Frank Darabont.
Yeah.
Who then asked me to be in The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
That's amazing.
The Mist.
Yeah.
And,
I had no idea that role of
Joel Silver, after that episode, Joel Silver asked me if I would play the villain in Die Hard 2.
Wow.
So that one moment where she said, "Well, like, you know," I said, "What's up with the role of Talbot?" And she said, "Okay, we'll give him a shot." And I've always thought I could have walked out and just.
That's amazing.
Gone home.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bill,
it's just like that one little moment just opened up a million things for me. As I think it must have. I mean, you went on to do this for.
It opened the door
every episode
for my voiceover work. I mean, people had asked me to do voiceover work, and I had been doing a bunch of sitcoms and stuff and stand-up comedy and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was busy. And, you know, my agents called me. I was doing another series for HBO called First and 10. I played the Bulgarian field goal kicker, Zagreb Shkenuski. And they go, "Oh, we're doing this Tales from the Crypt thing." And I was like, "Oh, I love that comic book as a kid. I mean, I had these comic books, you know, I mean, it was like a big deal for me." And, you know, and I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to audition for that." And it literally launched my voiceover career, which has kept me working through, you know, into my 60s.
I know. You feel fortunate as hell, you know?
You have no idea. But, you know, Bill and I had met briefly. My ex-wife was working on, was it Roswell you guys were doing together? Julie Benz? Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was somewhat later, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But
yeah. It was later than that. But then you and I ran into each other at Todd Masters' one of his Halloween parties.
Of course, those great Halloween parties where
you were dressed up.
You
like
get the invitation. The invitation is a box with an ear in it. This human ear.
And,
That's how you got invited.
Todd did all the practical effects for the Tales
Which
from the
was
Crypt episode.
extraordinary.
Demon Knight, he did all the stuff for all the practical effects for Demon Knight, which is still not only my favorite Tales from the Crypt thing, but one of my top horror movies. I mean, just holds up so well. Ernest and I do and even Todd will will come in and do Q&As and stuff like that, and they'll do screenings of it, and it gets a huge reaction.
Really?
Huge. Yeah, you got to join us.
I would love to join you. I did that for the longest time in my career. I would do things and then they just drift off into the mist behind me. It was like you misplace people, and I don't know. I guess Demon Knight did pretty well in the movie theaters, and they made Bordello of Blood, which you and I worked. I remember they brought me back to be the
mummy.
A mummy.
Yeah.
They did like the chopping thing. Or
you and I were on the set together, chopping fingers off or whatever, and making up half of this crap. I mean,
totally.
Gil
Adler, who I keep in touch with, from the, who directed Bordello of Blood, but also was, the showrunner for the series. He wasn't when you did The Man Who Was Deaf, but they brought him in because they were only going to do those 3 episodes and call it a day. And Gil had been show running Freddy's Nightmares, and Joel was like, we need to be able to do it on this kind of budget. We need to get this many pages during the day, and blah blah blah. And Gil was like, so what do we do with the other half of the day? He goes, okay, you're hired. And the show stayed on for 7 seasons because of we keep in touch. He's up in Vancouver with his wife, and we do some Zooms with he and his wife. We do a little cocktail hour every once in a while.
Sweet.
He's still working. And
sweet. And you do the conventions as well, which I haven't done.
It's like
I used to do more of them, but I haven't since the pandemic, and it's really slowed me down a lot.
Yeah, same here. I haven't done any during the pandemic, and this was the one this weekend was supposed to be my first back, and and it just
the irony.
And you got salmonella.
The irony of salmonella, the thing that keeps you away.
I mean, I was making crazy jokes about it at first, saying I had cryptosporosis. I was like, cryptosporosis, which is similar, but I hadn't got the labs back, so I didn't really know what it was. But I was like, I've been able to avoid getting COVID all this time and wind up with salmonella.
Just extraordinary, though, that that we've been associated with one another, and for years and years and years, we've been, bouncing off of each other. And
people will be like, "Well, did you ever think that Tales from the Crypt would be so big?" Blah 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 blah. I was like, "Of course not. It was HBO. HBO wasn't even in there."
They didn't know. Yeah, like you said, they did the first 3 episodes, and they thought they would release them as a maybe it would get a theatrical release, and that's it. And I don't think. And then the one that I did was up for an ACE award. It didn't win it, but Walter Hill was phenomenal to work with. I was really, really green at film. I'd done a lot of theater, and he was so helpful. He was.
I love that episode.
Yeah, he was great. He would sit there. He liked the character that I had come up with to play this guy, and he would sit. I would come in the morning, and he'd be writing those monologues. He was like changing monologues and writing, and he'd say, "Bill, read this," and I'd read it, and he'd laugh, and 20 minutes later, we're shooting it. It was like, so it was pretty fresh. It's pretty fresh stuff.
Guerrilla filmmaking.
John, can I ask you a question?
Sure, I'm not going to stay on too long because I don't want to beat up Bill's time because the fans, tune in to see him, and he deserves it.
I'm honored, man.
So,
I'm honored.
I wanted to say though, you were right though. You just don't know what's going to land in your career. Everything comes and goes, and like if somebody had said, "Are you going to be known for horror?" which was one of my favorite things as a kid, the Universal horror monster movies and that kind of thing were my favorite thing. I'd be like, no way. But that's the thing that I go to conventions for because that's the thing people.
It's astonishing. It really is. Right? It really is it's a remarkable thing. I remember sitting reading Famous Monsters of Filmland, the very first magazines the first editions when they came out. I just ate those things. I devoured those images. I love them.
Awesome. I'm sorry, you guys had a quick question.
Yeah, so you're talking about Gil Adler, and I was talking to him recently because we had him on the show for some stuff to talk about Bordello Blood, and he said that oftentimes one of the questions you get asked the most is who physically played the Crypt Keeper, and he said no, it's a puppet. People wouldn't believe him. They thought he said it was 6 guys operating a puppet.
I know.
They would believe, like we couldn't get an actor that small, so. When people find out or people come up to you and ask you, what was it like to be in the Crypt Keeper makeup? Do you ever get that
I
question?
It all the time.
I'm sure.
It was like, it was my salad days, I was like, But no, literally those guys were amazing because they would come film me because I would pretend to be the Crypt Keeper in the studio when we were recording my voice. And then they could rehearse to it kind of like,
they could match the movements with the puppet.
Yeah, it's like an early motion capture.
Good.
Sadly, Van Snowden, who was the lead puppeteer and worked the head and one of the hands, is he's no longer with us. He had cancer a few years back and died. It was amazing. All the puppeteers were amazing, but they got so good at it that we could do interviews where they're interviewing the Crypt Keeper.
They're just asking them
the questions,
off the cuff questions.
And doing it live, and the guy with the voice would be just a little behind my lips, but you couldn't tell on camera.
Wow.
And it was, if you look at the original episodes, like the one that you were in, they didn't give Kevin much budget, and he was using pieces of Chucky, because he had made Chucky, to make the Crypt Keeper out of, like Chucky eyes, and
wow.
So the mouth barely moved like this.
And it got better with age.
More ominously in those episodes. Kind of thing, yeah.
That's awesome.
In the first couple seasons, between seasons, you see a big jump.
Yeah.
In what they can do with it.
Yeah, but they had great writers for that stuff. But I would improvise in the studio while we were recording, and the next week, I just make them laugh. I love a girl who'll give you head and then let you keep it. And I'm like, that'll never make it. Of course, it was in the show it was in the show the next week. But you were
it was HBO.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Bill, you were just brilliant. Well, you're brilliant in everything you do, but you were just brilliant in the characters that were especially given to you through the Tales from the Crypt franchise. And that's just amazing to hear that story that long.
How close we came to
things, man.
I almost
incredible.
I almost got to my car before she stuck her head out the window and said, "Hey, why not? Why not?"
Yeah, I mean, the life lesson there is it never hurts to ask.
If it sucks, I won't even show it to them.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what she was thinking.
No, you were perfect for it too. It was just so
I was probably a lot cheaper than as well.
Everybody was.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $1,700 for the whole show, or something. Something like
scale
that.
Plus 10.
I did it the first
exactly something like that.
On that show myself, it was like just to get double scale, like in the 3rd season or something. They were like, "We're gonna fire you." I was like, "Go ahead, I got a lot of stuff going on, man." I was like, I don't need to rip up my vocal cord for scale, but it obviously, I mean, I never got rich off the show, but now it's an annuity.
I know, it's great. It's great. I love that, like, generations that weren't even born when we made this stuff are finding it and enjoying it. Are getting a kick out of it all over again. that makes
Well,
me
totally.
really happy.
They always ask me about you. I mean, it's just it's funny because they didn't believe me when I kept telling them kids are watching this show. They're like, no way, there's no kids watching this show. I was like, yeah, and we should do a kids version of it. And they were like, nah, it's too scary for them. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do a cartoon, and then we're gonna do a game show, and then we're gonna do a record album. We're gonna do the Christmas album. I was like, no, do a live show. Well, they never really needed to because kids were watching it. So the people that come up to you
Right.
at the conventions and stuff or wherever
say,
write to you.
Yeah, no, I snuck in and watched.
It was part of their pop culture. It was like their gateway drug to horror.
Yes.
Exactly. I hear all the time. I snuck in and watched it when my parents were out. Or
yeah.
Well, it's great to see you, John.
It's great to see you too.
Wow.
I'm going to cut out and let you guys finish. But Bill, it's always great to see you, and I hope we run into each other soon. And I'm going to mention we'll get on with Gil one time, but I'm going to mention also Ernest and Todd the next time they call me to do one of these demon nights.
I'd love it. That would be so cool.
I'd love to have you there.
Cool. Thank you, John, so much for coming on.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. Dads from the crypt.
I love it. Never gets old.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Fair. Take care.
Bye.
Oh,
Wow.
What a great man.
Dude, what a great surprise guest.
Yeah. No, he actually, I saw
had
he
no
liked one of our posts this morning, and I messaged him real quick and said, hey, do you want to come on? So it all happened like in the last hour or two.
That's crazy.
It all just kind of came together.
That's crazy.
All right, we got a lot of questions building up, so let's hit some.
I'm gonna jump around a little bit, and this one is kind of good because it's really
please do. Rapid fire. Here we go.
It's current. Can you tell us anything about the upcoming adaptation of Salem's Lot?
I know you can't say too much, but what can you tell us?
I can't say too much, but it should be great, and it comes out this summer, I think.
Did you?
And I have to go in and do ADR for it.
Oh, you do?
Additional dialogue recording.
Did you watch the miniseries or read the book?
I read the book.
Mm-hmm.
I read the book. That's actually a big part of my career has been in Stephen King
that's true.
projects. I mean, Shawshank and The Green Mile and The Mist, and now this. So thank you, Stephen. I hope I've done you proud. I just I'm really jazzed to see it. I have not seen it, but from what I saw of the setups and the way that it was being handled, I think it's going to be extraordinary. I think it's going to be a really fun take on that story, which is one of the scariest things. I mean, I'm not a big horror movie guy because I get scared, and then I don't want to go down in the basement and change the light bulb, or my imagination carries me away, and I'll stay scared for like a week after I see something like that. But I think this one is. I think this one should be fantastic, just fantastic. And I'm sorry I can't divulge. I can't divulge, or they'll hunt me down like a dog in the street.
We don't want that.
No.
That was from Sandra, who, also going back to music, said that she does miss your songs on YouTube and misses your kitchen music.
Oh, Sandra, I can do more. I'm gonna do more, but it'll be better because there'll be better recordings, and I won't have a beard unless you like the beard. Now grow it.
I mean,
but,
we're pro beard here, but yeah.
Hides my double chin. Alrighty.
Yeah, men are lucky that way. I think when there's all sorts of jazz that a beard can take care of.
Exactly.
Look, I'm distinguished. I'm not old and flabby.
Alrighty, we got one from Catherine. It says, "Great to see you on here. I had the pleasure of meeting Ed Solomon and Alex Winter last month. I just wondered, what's your favorite memory from filming Bogus Journey?"
Oh my goodness. Um, the very first, you know, the sequence in the game sequence where we sit and play Battleship.
You play
You ever sank my battleship? That sequence was the very first day on the set. The first scene, the first day of filming for me. I think they had been filming a little bit before. And of course they had done a movie together before. So they were old friends already. But I was a sort of big question mark, and there was a lot of people were nervous. Again, it was Karen Ray, the casting woman, who cast me as the Reaper. She had me in. I did the Czechoslovakian accent, who was funny, but she called me up like 3 weeks after that audition and said, Bill, they think you're too young. You got to go to I'm going to have you back in. Just go to a Halloween store and get some gray and put it in your hair and black out your teeth. And I thought, oh, that'll work. That's going to look really good. So I called Scott Edo, the makeup man from Die Hard 2, and told him my situation. And he was in town at the time. And he said, come on over to my house in Marina Del Rey. And I'll sit in my kitchen and I'll make you look old. And that's what he did. He made me look about 70 something. Believably old. And I got in my car and drove to the audition, did the same audition, exactly the same audition with the accent and everything, and got the job. And apparently one of the producers, as I was leaving, turned to Karen Ray and said, you know, he looks a lot older in person. But they were nervous about, you asked me what my favorite moment was. That first day. Mm-hmm. They were nervous and I was nervous, and we had never tried the makeup before. They hadn't put me on film before. They could still fire me and replace me with Christopher Lloyd or somebody. And after that gaming sequence, that whole, it was Colonel Mustard did it in the study with the candlestick. They watched the dailies, and I could feel the producers and the director, Peter Hewitt, and so on. They sort of, when we were filming it the first day, everybody was there, and they're all watching, and they're all like, you know, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And then they watched the dailies, and it was like, oh shit, that's going to work. That's funny. And from then on, it was like smooth sailing. I had it, you know what I mean? They could trust that I had the Reaper down.
Awesome. I love that scene.
And they were gonna love it because they weren't sure, you know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's too young. He's too this. He's too that. Is the accent gonna work? Is the makeup gonna work? It was. They had reason to be nervous, you know.
I love that scene, and I would never know that because you guys have such good chemistry together in those scenes.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Yeah. But yeah. But it was one of those moments in your career when you're like, you're also going,
yeah.
Ruh-roh.
That's really funny is just last week I was talking to my son. He's almost 8, and I was just talking about school. I'm like, so what'd you do at school today? He's like, oh, we played Battleship. I'm like, we don't have a copy at home, so I ran to Target and bought one because I wanted to play with him. And in my head, I just kept thinking in your voice, you sunk my Battleship. Every time.
Jason, did you smash them?
No.
Okay.
I hit. You're every sank my business.
I have here's a Bill and Ted question from me actually.
Yeah.
How was it working with George Carlin? Do you have any good George Carlin stories?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I love George. George was wonderful on the set. He wasn't. It's funny. I felt really fortunate to see him in everyone else in the nation and the world got to see him on Johnny Carson or, Saturday Night Live or whatever. But backstage or waiting to shoot your scene, he was sort of in my world, you know.
Yeah.
It's not stand up. It's not, you know, and here he is, and he can do his shtick. He's got to memorize lines. He's got a character to play, a costume, and so on. And he was lovely. He was just, we talked about a million things. I gave him a cassette of a performance I did of my songs called Live at the Fog Lifters. It was a coffee house in LA. And then the show, we finished filming. I didn't hear from him again, and I moved back to New York, and he was still in LA. And like 10 years later, in the early morning, I get a phone call. It's George Carlin. I get a phone call here in Poughkeepsie from George Carlin. He says, Bill, yeah, listen, you remember that cassette you gave me? Well, I wore it out. I need another one. I need another one. I said, George, that's phenomenal. Thank you. I'm so happy you like it. And he gave me his address, and I didn't send him a cassette. I sent him a CD by that time. And he sent me books, his brain droppings and so on, signed, he sent me 4 books signed to me. And that was the last contact that we had. But it was what a lovely thing. And there's a part of me that thinks, it was just an excuse to reach out and say hello again. It was a reason to hear someone's voice again, Whether he actually wore out my cassette or not is of no importance at all. It was really lovely to hear his voice again after all that time. I didn't realize that he was, that he was sick.
There's actually a documentary, I think it's on HBO Max, that came out this weekend.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I heard they were talking about the radio. It's supposed to be really good. I heard that he did the Tonight Show like 130 times, something amazing.
This is like, but he was funny. He was funny backstage. He was funny in his downtime, but he wasn't on. Mm-hmm. He was. He'd ask questions, and he was curious. He wanted to know all about everything, which I remember. He was a sweet man, nice man.
Awesome. That's a great story. I love it. I love that story. And then one last Bill and Ted question. What was the hardest thing about getting back into character to be in Face the Music? She said, aside from having to wear the robes in the heat.
The robes in the heat was massive because they decided to shoot in New Orleans in the dead of in August. When we were filming at night outside, and it was 95% humidity and 98 degrees, something like that. It felt like that. Anyway, there was a team of people with fans that would blow up my robes every time they yelled cut. But anyway, the hardest part was not, that wasn't the hardest part. That was everybody had to deal with the heat. But I had developed an allergy to makeup, to any makeup, which is weird. I mean, it's for an actor, that's like, they were trying to tell me something, be a musician. But they put the makeup on and it felt all right. And the next day I would wake up and there was huge bags under my eyes and blotches and this and that. And they'd put on some other kind of makeup. They kept trying different things. But I kept having this horrendous reaction to the makeup. I ended up taking like prednisone, and I had to get a doctor involved. And so anyway, makeup.
That sounds rough.
Yeah, that sounds really tough.
So. That sounds rough. Yeah. A question, a movie that I think some of our horror fans probably might not know you're in. What was it like working on Rocket Man?
Oh, one of the coolest shoots I've ever done. It was fantastic. We shot it at NASA. We got to,
Wow.
when we weren't filming, the engineers at NASA had us come in. There was one weekend we rode in the space shuttle simulator, the flight simulator,
The vomit
with the
rocket.
wraparound computer screens that they train the astronauts in. It's like, and man, they do things like they said when an astronaut comes in to start training, they launch, they go into orbit, they dock, they undock, and they return and they land, and it all goes smooth as can be. And he said that's the last time everything goes smooth for them, because there's a whole bank of engineers sitting in another room that say, okay, let's make the mainframe computer go down. Ready? And go. So, and they have their backup systems for all of these things. So they're in the simulator, the mainframe computer goes down, they have to go to a backup system. Then they have the mainframe computer go down and the oxygen generator go down at the same time. And the team inside has to be able to fix multiple things over, they just keep throwing problems at them over and over and over again for like 6 months. He said the next time that it all goes perfectly is when they actually launch, and they go up, they dock, they come back, they land. But there's nothing that they can't fix, they haven't faced already.
That's awesome.
I thought it was amazing. I just was geeking out. I was geeking out.
We got some more Roswell questions in here.
Yeah.
I didn't know that show had such a cult following.
Oh, and no, what's great is they're talking in the chat how much they
Yeah.
absolutely love you.
They're talking amongst themselves. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yeah. Our friend Deborah here says you're still a gorgeous man.
Thank you, Deborah.
A lot of it's like her and Sandra, two big Roswell fans. They have a huge fan base that follows all the cast in your careers, which is really cool to hear. Like,
sweet.
So I think this is a Roswell question based on who it's
Armando Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
I go by Mondo. Yeah, my dad is from Mexico. I just didn't. I didn't get the.
Oh, it's
attributes.
you. I thought that was the questioner.
Oh, no, that's me.
Okay.
That's me. Sandra also asked about a prank that Brendan Fair pulled.
Involving urine.
She didn't go that deep, but she goes, "It was a great prank that Brendan Fair."
Great prank. Yeah. No, I'm. I don't know how much detail we need to go into.
Okay.
The customers really enjoyed it. I think it happened on a dare, in the episode where I was directing.
Oh.
And that's as much as I'm gonna say about it.
Fair enough.
Somebody dared him, and there you go.
There you go.
Next.
Alrighty. You brought this up before we started recording, but Catherine also would like to know any good behind the scenes stuff about Freaked from your time working on that movie.
Ooh.
You can show off your shirt.
Oh.
Yeah. There you
go. I don't really have any behind the scenes stuff on that. We shot it. I mean, I was involved in it for like a day or 2 or 3. My wife and daughter are in it.
Ooh.
I think there's a petting zoo scene, and they're petting the animals at the zoo. But I don't really have any. I was in and out so quick. Alex did that one the budget was, was it tiny, and they had to shoot very fast. And I remember I did love the scene though, where the pull the lever and all the executives' arms go up at the same time, and Juan Valdez, from the island of Santa Flan. patron saint of creamy desserts.
Nice. Mondo, I got a couple questions from Reddit. I'll jump in for.
Cool.
This is from user Skeleton Warrior. He sent a couple. So besides Man of Death, have you watched many Tales from the Crypt episodes? And if so, which is your favorite?
Besides
the ones that you were in, yeah. Do you have any favorite episodes?
I like the one that Joey Pants was in, the cat. Something about the 9 lives. Joey Pantaleone.
Dig that cat.
Dig that cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah. And there was one that, is it the third one in that set? I think that in that, I didn't really, I don't think I subscribed to HBO. I couldn't afford HBO when the show was on.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I was in it, so I probably didn't watch any episodes besides the ones that those first 3, they had a screening of the first 3 at a theater, and we all and so I got to watch it. What's his, Larry Green did the Santa Claus one.
The All Through the House with Larry Drake.
Larry Drake, excuse me. The late amazing Larry Drake.
So good.
But those, those are the 3 that I'm familiar with. The rest are.
Yeah. I guess it's not like now where they could probably just give everyone a code to log in. Then he also asked, do you have any good stories about working with the late great Dick Miller on Demon Knight? Dick
was wonderful. Dick was hysterical. He's one of those guys. It's like, he did the what's it? Who's the director who did? I'm blanking on the name. Who did like the lowest of the low budget? Roger Corman.
Roger Corman, yeah.
He did. He told a story about playing. He was in a Western that I guess he did a lot of Roger Corman's movies because he didn't pay anything, and they always needed actors. But in one movie he played a Native American and the cowboy that shot the Native American.
Oh wow!
So he actually got to shoot himself out of a tree or something and fall on the ground. He was wonderful. He was full of these stories about, low budget early Hollywood. Great guy, funny man.
And while we're talking about Demon Knight actors, what about Billy Zane? Because he was just gnawing on the scenery.
He was chewing the scene. Any actor who make a sponge pop out of their mouth in the middle of a scene has got my vote. He was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant in that. I mean, I saw what he had to work with on the page as the collector, and I just thought he had so much fun with it, that you fell in love with this guy. He brought it to another level. He really did. I thought he was terrific. And that bing dang thing that he does on the outside when he makes the
cowboy hat, yeah.
The demons, yeah.
The sponge bit, was that in the script, or did you improvise that?
No. Probably in the script it said hands are a sponge or something, He just but there was a lot of that, and you get in Ernest Dickerson to his credit, and the writers as well, where they were open to ideas. If somebody had a cooler in the moment, on the set, in the thing, something occurs to someone, oh, what if he does this, and that I don't think the sponge popping out of his mouth was in the. I don't think that was in the script. I think he did that. And I thought he was brilliant. And Jada was great. CCH Pounder, come on. Thomas Church. get that cast together again for love or money.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we would love a Demonite like sequel. If I mean, yeah, like a some continuation of that story. Other, you know, I'm sure the rights are all tied up with because it's a Tales from the Crypt thing.
Because we shot in an abandoned airplane hangar in Sherman Oaks, which I don't know if people know. There were pigeons that lived in the rafters, and there was this thing they used to have to shoo them away or scare them off and make them fly away and then yell action. We would do the scene quick while the pigeons were busy elsewhere, and then they would finally come back to their roosts and start making that. And before every take, they were like firing blanks, and they'd all fly away, and they go action. So it was full of little. Someday ask Ernest Dickerson if he remembers.
Sure,
that's crazy.
There were lots of little things like that.
Then in Bordello, obviously you played the mummy. So was it really tough to get like a mummy suit? Like what was it like being a mummy from an actor's perspective?
Mummy. It's a mummy. No. What is it? It's some wrapping. It's some wrapping paper. No. And it was only one day. I don't remember it being terribly uncomfortable. You know, there was makeup and then decaying wraps everywhere. I do remember working with John. The two of us were on the set. You know, I was kind of surprised too that they had asked me to do that, because, you know, I don't have any connection to the mummy. You know,
no. Well, I think you're such a part. You're obviously such a big part of the first movie that they wanted to get you in however they could, and the wraparound was a good way to shoehorn it.
I guess it was fun to do, but it was, like I said, it was just, you know, it was just one day, 100 years ago. I don't remember a lot about it.
No, some actors I believe like to develop their characters' backstory beyond what's on the paper. So for Breaker, did you like think about, like, you know, what this guy's been through, like come up with any like beyond what's in the movie backstory for him in your head?
I did actually. Yeah, I tend to do that anyway. With all of these characters, I try to imagine what their life has been. Like with Breaker, where he's been alive since World War I. We see in that flashback, you see him he's in the trenches in World War I, and he ends up getting the tattoo on his hand, getting being chosen to be the next Demon Knight, and then to play someone who can't get sick, and they can't get old, and they can never rest. That was sort of what I was working with. That that he would have this sort of 1,000-yard stare of someone for whom the battle just never ends. He can never hang up his guns and just put his feet up. And he's been chased by this guy for the last 100 years. And he just can't get old. You know, he can't get sick and he can't get old. And he's watched everybody else in his life pass away while he's had this mission. So when the event comes, when the stars start to align on his hand, and it's time to, it's a great, I mean, it's a fun thing to play with as an actor. You know, it's not realistic, but it's fun to imagine and bring, if you can, bring some of that reality to it, so people come along for the ride when people finally understand who he is and what's going on, they say, "Oh shit, that's why he looks like that. That's why he's so nervous and watching and running and so on." They catch up with you, as an audience.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what horror and fantasy does, where it takes the unrealistic, good horror and good sci-fi. It takes, it takes an unrealistic situation, but finds a humanity that we can all relate to.
Exactly. And if you can, as an actor, if you can find even a piece of something that grounds it, that the audience can believe in and hang on to, I've found they'll follow you anywhere. You can go to Mars. You can tell a story about demons, but if you help them buy into it enough, they'll, I've always thought that was your job.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once yet?
No. What is that?
It's a movie. It's like a month or two old now, and it's this really crazy kind of fantasy, not like medieval fantasy, but just like multiverse and different realities. Just really crazy movie, but it's all based on like a mother-daughter family relationship, and that's like the center of all this crazy stuff happening, and it's all cemented back there. I just watched it last night, and like I
haven't seen it.
I don't understand everything, but like I get the human drama in it.
But that's and I think that you're right. You're right. When the stuff is good, if you can believe Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker and that relationship, you'll come along for the ride. You'll believe that there are lightsabers. You can accept a lot until you. And I've also seen movies where right at the center of the scene is an actor who I'm not buying. I don't get it. I don't know. They were hired for some reason because they could bring in an audience or something, but they're not connecting. And you just sort of sit back and go, all right, tell me the story, whatever. But you don't get sucked in.
Speaking of what could possibly be your most human character, can you tell us about Stage of Twilight?
Oh, Stage of Twilight is a movie. It's a little independent movie that I did last summer with Karen Allen, who is from the Raiders of the Lost Ark fame and so on. But she's a phenomenal actress. She's a really wonderful actress, and beautiful. And I got to play. It's funny. There are no demons in it, and there's no vampires, and I don't kill anybody. There's no gunplay. It's just a relationship between these two people. And they've known each other for decades and decades, and things are happening in their lives now that they don't have any control over. And I've never been asked to play those notes on the piano before. I've never been asked to play a man with in a situation like that. And I came away from it feeling like I'd gone to Oz or something. And, it was remarkable. It was a really wonderful experience. The movie is out in festivals now, A Stage of Twilight. I guess it's looking for a distributor, but I came away from it thinking this is some of the best. I think this may be the best work I've ever done.
Oh wow!
Because I've never been asked to go to these places, and here was a movie that required that you go to those places, and so it's like people, they don't ask me to be funny in movies, and I love it when I get a chance. I got a chance to do The Reaper, and he's funny. It's like you pull a cork out of a bottle, and it's like it goes all over. But the guy in Die Hard 2 isn't funny. you know. It's not what's required. So, and for this guy, for Stage of Twilight, he had to be a human, you know. And I just came away from it feeling like this might be the best work I've ever done. So I hope people get a chance to see it.
No, we're really excited.
And Karen Allen was great.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're getting a little bit late, so we want to make sure we play the second song. Mondo, do you have that ready for us?
Yep. Give me 2 seconds. This is Talking to My Baby. Sorry, live recording here.
That's fine. Just let us know when it starts.
Has it started?
I'm just wait just 1 second.
I don't care if it rains all day. I wasn't going out anyway. All by myself, but I'm not alone. I'm talking to my baby on the telephone. I dial her number, she says hello. And I say, hey babe, what do you know? And I get happy right down to my bones, just talking to my baby on the telephone. Now if I was there, I'd bring her coffee in her favorite cup. And we'd stay in bed all day and talk about whatever came up. Now if I was a secret agent man on a dangerous mission to the Yucatan, I wouldn't care if my cover got blown. I'm talking to my baby on the telephone. 'Cause I believe I'm talking to my baby on the telephone. I hear her voice and my whole world starts to smile. You best kick your shoes off, girl. This phone call may last a while. Now, if I was in the witness protection plan, being chased by the mob just as hard as they can, I wouldn't care if it was Al Capone. I'm talking to my baby on the telephone. If I was the president, you know what I would do? If they said, sir, we got Putin for you on line number 2, I'd say, I don't care if you got the Pope in Rome. I'm talking to my baby on the telephone. If I was there, I'd bring her coffee in her favorite cup. We'd stay in bed all day and talk about whatever came up. Now, I know what you're thinking. This guy's over the hill. As long as I can pay that old telephone bill, I'll hang on till the cows come home. Just talking to my baby, talking to my baby, talking to my baby on the telephone.
Awesome.
Talking to my baby on the telephone.
That was pretty great. And
Thank you.
And we have comments already in the chat just saying how much you absolutely love that song. And
Cool as hell.
And Sandra said they'd love to see you sing with John Doe again.
With John, oh, sweet! I would love that. Well, I'm just gonna keep writing songs and recording them, and I'll put out some more videos. I will. I promise. Scout's honor.
Any aspirations to maybe do a tour once the record comes out, once the album comes out?
I suppose it's I suppose I might. I have to be careful. I have some issues that I have to be careful around people that have COVID.
Gotcha.
And while that thing is still out there, it's kind of particularly dangerous for me. So I've got to be careful. But nothing would make me happier than to get up on stage and sing, 10 of these songs in a row, and with my little band behind me, and that's my idea of a brilliant night. It would be so fun.
That'd be awesome. And then maybe not something on air we want to answer, but someone was asking, do you have any place that people can send fan mail to?
No, William, if you want, they can email us, and I could forward them to another address if you want. Just for now, if you don't have something set up already.
Yeah, I don't have anything set up already. They could send it to my agent, or they can Rachel Sheedy, or maybe they could if they email you,
right?
I'll give you an address that you can then give to them or something. We can do that.
Okay. So for the people watching, if you want to send a request to dadsfromthecrypt@gmail.com, I'll talk to William's agent and see what we want to do with those requests.
Or you can email me, and we can back and forth, and you and I could email.
Yeah, well, we can figure something out. No promises, but for now.
No promises.
But for now, you can send those
get your
requests
hopes
there.
up, okay?
And then Deborah our friend Deborah here did leave a interesting comment saying you should try doing a virtual concert. Which a lot of bands did during the pandemic, which they'd set up and actually live broadcast their concert.
I think that's more likely than me touring around to clubs and things where do a virtual concert.
Yeah, love it.
Might be a cool idea.
I would. Okay, I'll do that. I promise. And the album doesn't have a name yet, but it's just it'll be. I mean, maybe it'll come out under William Sadler, The Kitchen Tapes.
Cool.
Because most of these were written in my kitchen on my guitar.
Love it.
Awesome. Let's see. Do we have any last questions before we wrap up from the audience? I know they're a few seconds behind us, so go ahead and shoot them in. Mono, do we have anything pending we want to hit on?
Unless I missed something, and if I did, I sincerely apologize. So we're kind of new to this. The last question was about and our friend from Sweden also asked, have you ever been to Sweden?
No, I haven't.
But
I'd love to go.
But on behalf of all the Swedish people in the world, he did say that you are welcome there.
Thank you. On behalf of me, I accept. I'd be honored.
And then he did fire in some rapid fire questions here at the end that we can answer real quick.
Okay. All right, hit it.
Did Tom Hanks ever visit the set of Roswell?
No, I don't think so. Tom, I did a thing called The Pacific for HBO, a mini series called The Pacific that Tom Hanks was one of the producers on, and he came to Australia and visited the set where we were filming. But I know Tom. And from the Green Mile as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's right. And then he also asks, would you ever like to join a sitcom?
Okay.
Work is work.
And I would love to do a sitcom. I did a sketch comedy show called Assaulted Nuts way back in the I think it was on Cinemax.
Oh wow.
You can watch it on YouTube when you're done watching this. But it was me and Wayne Knight and Emma Thompson.
Oh wow.
And it was half English cast and half American cast, and we made fun of each other. It was good. But yeah, I would do a sitcom. Of course I would.
And
that would be fun.
He also asks, would you like to return to Star Trek ever?
Yes.
We're on
I have
the-
trouble turning. I
Yeah.
have trouble. If I would. I liked that character that I played, the Luther Sloan, director of Section 31.
and that was on Deep Space Nine.
Deep
Or
Space Nine.
Voyager? Okay.
No, it was on Deep Space Nine. Yeah, no, I thought that was really well written. It was so tasty. The writing on that show, it made that character really fun to play. Kind of an evil, Oliver North character.
Yeah.
You don't really think you won that war by yourselves, do you? You don't think that planet just happened to catch some disease that killed everyone. No, it was like sort of that kind of, it's like that kind of evil. But he's fighting for the Federation. He's on the side of the Federation. So he's like, no, I'm working with you guys. None of you want to get your hands dirty. It's that kind of thing,
And then we have a bunch of people in the chat just saying thank you and how much they really enjoyed this, and you're a very well loved man.
Says you, thank you.
And then I'll ask the last question here, which is the deep question again from our Swedish friend, and he said, considering you're the best Grim Reaper on screen, do you believe there's a life after this life?
Ooh.
I figure a nice easy question to end on.
My goodness. There might be. I might keep your fingers crossed. I would do good things in this life, though, because I'm not sure you get a chance to do it again. And I mean, we science nerds believe in the permanency of energy. I mean, it changes forms, but it never goes away. So send out good energy, as much of it as you can.
I like that.
I love it.
Be a good person and see what happens.
William,
Be a good person, see what happens.
yeah, there you go. William, thank you so much. This was a blast. You have always been very generous as this podcast was getting started. You were one of our first guests. You and John were our first two guests, and that just really kind of showed me that people still are willing to be generous and put time out there. And you've always been very generous with us. So thank you so much for being an awesome dude.
Thank you.
And everyone in the chat is just applauding. And
Yay! Feel free to come on over and join me on Facebook, William Sadler, the Billboard, it's called.
okay.
Feel free to come and join me on Facebook or on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram anymore, but I'm on Twitter
Okay.
as WM _ Sadler. You can't miss me.
Cool. And thank you, Mondo, for producing and wearing all the hats and
I tried.
keeping this
Mondo.
thing running.
Mondo, my hat's off to you, buddy.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you a lot.
That was great.
That's fun.
All right. And we thank
All
you,
righty.
everyone, for listening. And thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Adios.
Take care.
All right. Let's click. I'm going to click end stream.
I already did.
You did?